Your future husband is falling hard for you, but not for long. Stop this now. My beloved child, there is something quietly unfolding around your heart, and you can feel it even if you have not named it yet. Someone is looking at you with a depth that goes beyond surface attraction, and their feelings are growing in a way that feels real, steady, and almost surprising. It is not loud, it is not rushed, but it is strong, and it is shaping itself around the way you exist, the way you speak, the way you carry your energy without even trying. You may not fully realize how your presence affects this person because to you, it all feels natural. The kindness you show, the way you listen without judgment, the softness in your reactions, these things feel like small details in your own world, but to them, they are everything. They notice the quiet moments, the pauses in your voice, the way you look away when you are thinking, and even the way you hold back parts of yourself without explaining why. Stay with this, because there is something important here that you have not fully seen yet. At the same time, there is a subtle distance that you carry, something almost invisible but still felt. It is not something you do on purpose, and it is not something harsh, but it creates a space that keeps this connection from fully opening. You protect yourself in small ways through hesitation, through silence, through moments where you step back instead of stepping forward. And while it feels safe to you, it leaves this person wondering where they truly stand. And here is where everything becomes delicate, because feelings like this need more than just admiration to grow. They need a sense of being received. This person is moving closer to you emotionally, but they are also quietly observing, trying to understand if there is room for them in your world. Don't miss what comes next, because the way you respond to this unseen connection will shape what it becomes. And right now, it is standing at a point where even a small shift can change everything. There are moments when you feel something trying to reach you, even if no words are spoken, and that feeling is not your imagination. It is the quiet pull of someone who is becoming emotionally invested in you, someone who is slowly opening their inner world without fully knowing if it is safe to do so. The connection is not dramatic or obvious, but it is steady, and it is forming in a space where honesty and vulnerability are beginning to matter more than anything else. What makes this situation so delicate is not the strength of their feelings, but the uncertainty they carry while feeling them. They are trying to understand you, reading between your words, noticing when you open up and when you close off again. There are times when you feel warm and present, and other times when you seem distant without explanation. And this creates a quiet confusion in them. There's something important here, because this is not about perfection. It is about consistency. And right now, that consistency feels unclear to them. You might think that giving less, holding back, or protecting your emotions will keep things balanced. But what it actually does is create a subtle imbalance that they cannot ignore. They begin to question their place in your life, not because they doubt their feelings, but because they are unsure if those feelings are being met with the same openness. It is not that you are doing something wrong, it is simply that your silence sometimes speaks louder than your presence, and it leaves them trying to fill in gaps that were never meant to be empty. And slowly, without any conflict or confrontation, a quiet shift begins inside them. They start to step back just a little, not out of anger, but out of self-respect, trying to protect their own emotional space. This is where everything becomes sensitive, because the connection has not disappeared. It is just waiting for clarity, waiting for a sign that it is safe to grow. Stay with this, because the smallest awareness from you can gently change the direction of what is forming and bring it back into a space where both hearts feel seen. Sometimes the truth reveals itself not through what is said, but through what quietly begins to fade. And this is where your awareness becomes everything. You might notice small changes like a slower response, a softer presence, or a shift in the way they engage with you, and it can feel subtle enough to ignore. But underneath that calm surface, something meaningful is adjusting, not because their feelings are gone, but because they are trying to understand how much of themselves they should continue to give. What they feel for you has not disappeared. It is still there, steady and real, but it is no longer moving forward with the same certainty it once had. When someone cares deeply, they naturally lean in, they naturally try to connect. But when that connection feels uncertain, they begin to pause. They start protecting their energy, choosing moments carefully, holding back just enough so They do not lose themselves in something that feels one-sided. There's something important here because this is not rejection, it is reflection. You may not have intended to create this distance, and in your heart, you might still feel connected to them in your own quiet way. But feelings that are not expressed clearly can become invisible, even if they are strong. The warmth you feel inside does not always reach them unless it is shared in a way they can recognize. A small effort, a simple acknowledgement, a moment of genuine openness can mean more than you realize, because it shows them that what they feel is not existing alone. And right now, everything is still gently within reach. Nothing is broken, nothing is lost. It is simply waiting for balance. The connection is asking for a little more presence from you. Not perfection, not pressure, just honesty and clarity. Don't miss what comes next, because the way you respond in these quiet moments will either bring this bond closer into something real and grounded, or allow it to slowly remain in a space where it never fully becomes what it could have been. There comes a quiet turning point in connections like this, where nothing dramatic happens, yet everything begins to shift from the inside. It is not about losing something, it is about recognizing what has been left unspoken and gently bringing it into the light. You might feel a subtle realization rising within you, a soft awareness that maybe you have been holding back more than you needed to. Not out of coldness, but out of habit, out of protecting parts of yourself that once needed that distance. When you pause and truly look at this connection, you can sense that it has never asked you to be perfect, only present. The person who feels drawn to you is not expecting constant reassurance or grand gestures. They are simply hoping to feel that their presence matters in your world. A small shift in how you respond, how you show up, how you allow yourself to be seen, can change the entire tone of what is growing between you. Stay with this, because sometimes the smallest emotional movement creates the biggest difference. You do not need to force anything or become someone you are not, because real connection does not grow through effort alone. It grows through sincerity. When you allow yourself to soften just a little, to speak a little more openly, to meet them halfway instead of standing quietly at a distance, you create a space where both of you can breathe more freely. This is where understanding replaces confusion, where warmth replaces hesitation, and where something once uncertain begins to feel steady. And in this moment, you are not being asked to change everything, only to notice what truly matters and respond to it with intention. The connection is still here, still alive, still capable of becoming something meaningful and real. There's something important here, because this is not about holding on or letting go. It is about choosing to meet what is already trying to grow, and allowing it the chance to become something that feels right, balanced, and deeply genuine for both of you. What begins to change now is not outside of you, but within the way you choose to respond to what you feel. There is a quiet clarity forming, almost like a gentle voice reminding you that connection is not something to hide from when it feels right. You may notice yourself becoming more aware of your own patterns, the moments you pull back, the times you stay silent when you could simply express something real. And this awareness is not here to judge you. It is here to guide you. The truth is, you have always known how to care deeply. You have always carried warmth within you. But somewhere along the way, you learned to measure it, to hold it back just enough to feel safe. Now, you are being invited to trust that not every connection will take from you. Some will meet you, some will grow with you, and this one has been patiently waiting for that balance. When you allow yourself to be a little more open, not all at once, but in honest, simple ways, you create a space where both hearts can finally understand each other. This does not mean losing yourself or giving more than you can hold. It means allowing your true presence to be felt without hiding it behind hesitation. A kind word, a moment of attention, a genuine response when it matters. These are the things that bring clarity where there was once uncertainty. Don't miss what comes next, because what you do now is not about fixing anything. It is about aligning with what already feels natural, but has been held back. And as you take even the smallest step toward openness, you will begin to feel a shift, not only in them, but in yourself. The connection becomes lighter, more honest, more grounded, and you no longer feel like something is being left unsaid. This is where things begin to settle into a calm understanding, where both of you can simply exist in the connection without guessing, without holding back, and without losing the quiet depth that brought you together in the first place. In the quiet space that follows awareness, something begins to settle inside you with a sense of calm certainty that was not there before. It is not loud or overwhelming, but it is steady, like a gentle understanding that you no longer need to hold back the parts of yourself that were always meant to be shared. You start to notice how different it feels when you allow your responses to come from honesty instead of hesitation, and how that small shift changes the entire energy between you and this person. As you become more present, the connection responds naturally, almost as if it had been waiting for this moment of clarity all along. The distance that once felt confusing begins to soften, replaced by a quiet sense of ease where both of you feel more comfortable being real. They no longer have to guess what you feel, and you no longer have to question whether it is safe to express yourself. Stay with this, because this is where connection becomes something that supports you rather than something you overthink. You may also begin to understand that what was once holding things back was not a lack of feeling, but a lack of expression. When feelings are shared, even in simple ways, they create a sense of trust that allows everything else to grow naturally. There is no pressure here, no need to rush or define everything immediately, only a gentle movement forward where both of you can explore what this connection truly is without fear or confusion. And in this space, you find something rare, a balance between protecting your heart and allowing it to be seen. The connection no longer feels uncertain or fragile. It feels grounded, like something that can continue to grow without losing its calm foundation. This is where everything starts to make sense, where what once felt unclear becomes simple, and where you realize that sometimes the most meaningful change comes from the quiet decision to just be fully present in what you feel. What unfolds from here feels less like effort and more like alignment, as if everything that once felt slightly off is now finding its natural place. You begin to notice how your energy has shifted, how you no longer feel the need to second-guess your responses or hold back words that come from a genuine place. There is a quiet confidence forming, not loud or forced, but steady enough to guide how you show up in this connection, and that alone begins to change everything. This person feels that difference without you having to explain it, because sincerity carries its own language. The way you respond, the way you remain present, the way you allow small moments to be real instead of guarded, all of it creates a sense of reassurance that was missing before. There is no longer a question of where they stand, and that clarity brings a calm closeness that feels natural rather than overwhelming. There's something important here, because this is how something meaningful begins to take shape without pressure. At the same time, you start to understand that connection is not about constant intensity, it is about consistency and emotional truth. There will still be quiet moments, pauses, and space, but now those moments feel comfortable instead of confusing. You both learn how to exist within the connection without needing to force it forward, allowing it to grow at a pace that feels right for both of you. Don't miss what comes next, because this is where things begin to feel truly balanced. And in that balance, something deeper becomes possible, something that goes beyond attraction or curiosity. It becomes a connection where both of you feel seen, respected, and understood without needing to prove anything. This is where the energy settles into something real, something that does not fade easily because it is built on awareness, presence, and a quiet decision from both sides to meet each other fully without holding back what truly matters. Now it begins to feel less like something you are trying to understand and more like something you are simply living. The connection no longer sits in uncertainty, and your heart feels calmer because you are no longer holding pieces of yourself back. There is a natural flow between you and this person, where words feel easier, silence feels comfortable, and even the smallest interactions carry a quiet meaning that both of you can feel without needing to explain it. You start to realize that nothing here required perfection, only presence, and that changes the way you see everything. The fear of doing too much or too little slowly fades, replaced by a grounded awareness that being real is always enough. When you respond with honesty, when you show up with intention, you create a space where connection can breathe and grow without pressure. Stay with this, because this understanding becomes the foundation for something that feels both gentle and strong at the same time. There is also a sense of peace that comes with knowing you did not let this moment pass you by. You allowed yourself to notice, to adjust, and to meet what was quietly forming instead of letting it remain unspoken. That choice, simple as it may seem, is what brings depth into the connection. It allows both of you to feel secure in what is being built, without confusion or doubt lingering in the background. And as everything settles into this calm clarity, you can feel that this connection is no longer standing at a fragile point. It has moved into something steady, something that can continue to grow naturally over time. There's something important here, because what you chose was not just to respond to another person, but to respond to your own heart with honesty. And that is what makes everything that follows feel real, balanced, and quietly meaningful.